Good players at 23. We're trying to figure out who exactly will be there, based on intel on what other teams like or different things. But it's a good draft. I'd say it's a little deeper than probably what we thought at the start of the year, as different kids emerge and show that they've gotten better. So we think there'll be some interesting guys there.
As an organization, do you know what Thad Young is going to do?
No, that's a KP and Chad question, but as far as I know, we don't.
You don't. Is that problematic for you? You don't know what the situation is going into the draft?
I think in the draft, especially we're drafting in the 20s, you're trying to find the player that has the best chance to be an NBA player, at least a rotation player. So I don't think you're too worried about trying to fit a certain guy in. Not in the 20s.
Right. You're not looking for another power forward. You're just looking for the best player.
You got to look for, if you look at the statistics over the years on, hits and misses in the draft, you better pick the guy that you think has the best chance of having a career.
Has KP and Chad expressed to you maybe needs with that position, kind of the prototypical player they want to see?
Well, we talk a lot all year about the kinds of things that we're looking for in players, and I think this year on the court, everybody got to see the kind of guys that we think can succeed here going forward, and that's guys that play together. They're about the team. They're going to move the ball. Those kinds of things are the kinds of things that we need to continue to add.
Ryan, has your investigation into these players' personality changed? And by that I mean you're looking for blending into the team, that sort of thing. Mm-hmm. That's got a lot to do with 3 points made and more to do with talking or whatever. Yeah. How much talking do you do, and has it changed over the years?
Yeah, well, in my 15 years of doing this, it's definitely evolved 100%. When we started, at the Combine, you didn't even have scheduled interviews. Now you do, and you get a lot more chances to meet with these kids, whether it's at the pro days or certainly the time we spend with them when they come to a visit here. Those interviews at the Combine. There's a lot more chances to interact. It's still not recruiting. It's not like colleges where you're talking to them on the phone and all that, but you definitely get a chance to get to know them better. It's important to start building relationships, and we try to do the best we can given the amount of contact we can have with them.
Has the switch from Bird to KP led to even more of the personality research?
No, I don't think so. I mean, Larry's, if you look at, Larry's DNA as a player and the kinds of teams that he wanted to build here, it's still the same kind of team play. We feel like we'd like to build a team where the sum is bigger than the parts. And when a guy like Victor buys into that and is that kind of player and person, it really helps a lot.
Ryan, last year you guys basically drafted development 2-3 years down the road. What is the importance on readiness for this year's draft for you guys?
Again, I think you take that into consideration as you look towards who's going to have a chance to be the best player down the road. TJ last year, that was a deep freshman class coming out. There's a lot of good freshman players, and that's kind of what the strength or how a draft is judged 5 years from now is how those one and dones end up panning out. We felt comfortable with TJ and liked him, and he's hopefully going to prove that he's a player that we believe he is. This year, you're balancing one and dones with overseas guys, with 4-year college guys, and you're doing your best. It all comes down to who you feel is going to be the best player. I hate to just keep saying it's probably a boring answer, but at the end of the day, that's what it is.
Ryan, you only have 2 days left until the draft. How much even does an event like this, when you've done so much homework already, really add to the information that you have?
Yeah, it really helps. I mean, you're getting a chance to have our coaches work with our players. We're getting a chance to have them interact with our staff. And again, be able to spend time with them, take them to lunch, just again get more time with them to get to know them. No draft workout, whether it's in the middle of May or June 19th, shoots a guy up a draft board, immeasurably, but it's a part of it. And we always talk about it's a pie, and there's different pieces to it. There's a lot of different pieces that go into it. And, you have to as a team and as a strategy, figure out what each of those pieces mean to you and how much you value them. But so it's always good to have them there.
Is there a chance the person you draft Thursday did not visit here?
It's a good question. I say there could be a chance. We kind of look at it like the draft is two things. It's who's going to be there, and then of those guys that you like, if you can't move, if you're going to stay at 23, who's going to be gone, and then of those guys that are left, who do you like and in what order? If we have a pretty good feeling that 15 or 16 guys are gone, for sure. So you start with that group, and there's some guys in that group that for different reasons didn't come visit us, and so we'll see. We work hard to make sure we know them. Like I said, there's other opportunities for us to get a chance to get to know them other than here, and see them work out and stuff. So we feel comfortable. Whoever we pick, we'll feel comfortable with. Probably the best way to say it.
Last season, the success from this team being replaced with traded or free agents.
Mm-hmm.
Going forward, specifically with this draft, how much do you want to have maybe homegrown, home-drafted players to be a part of this nucleus going forward?
Yeah, we always talk about the draft as essential for a team like ours, where we feel like we're going to need to guys to overachieve, like probably where they're drafted, whether it's 11 or 23 or 19 or whatever it is. So we put a big emphasis on getting these guys that we draft better and putting a lot of value in it. And the draft is not an immediate thing. The draft is kind of a grassroots thing. You're drafting them, you're starting to work with them, you're going to bring them along. When you're drafting 23, it's pretty rare to get somebody that's going to step in and be a starter, even a high rotation guy next year as a rookie. It's going to take some time. It's a big jump, especially as the drafts now have become full of younger players.
The atmosphere around here has changed with Vic's presence. Has that trickled down to scouting?
Oh yeah, I mean Vic's infectious. I mean, when you come walking into work and you hear him singing, or just the smile he brings. As a former IU guy, a long time before Vic was there. But even then, like when I'd see him at games when he was playing for Orlando or wherever, he'd always come by and say hi. He's that kind of guy. Vic has it, whatever it is, and it's fun. All of us. Our scouting staff, we spend a lot of time not in Indianapolis and not at home. So when you're gone a lot, when you're working for, and trying to make it seem better, full of not only people you work for that are great to work for, but also the guys on the court when you come in the building make you feel appreciated for the last 10 days you've been in Europe bouncing around. That's pretty cool. My last trip to Europe, I was texting Vic back and forth a little bit about some of the guys I was seeing, and he's loves it. Like he's totally invested in everything, and helps all of us on certain long days be invested, as much as he is. It's a team. The guys on the court, but also the guys that fill these offices, and it's a fun place to work.
How inquisitive is Victor in this process? You said talking about Europe, even the draft process. Does he ask about players?
Yeah, not me personally as much, but I know that Kevin and Chad have talked to him. They just went down to see him work out here a week or so ago, and I know that that's part of the conversation. Not that I don't know to what extent, but I do know that he was they were asking about playing.
What's the process, Ryan, for the next 72 hours as you lead up to the draft?
Yeah, we still. I was just talking to Chad over there. We have some guys that we want to continue to watch some more film on and talk about. The process is a lot of phone calls to try to really boil down what other teams are doing, and then just make sure that we're dialed in, make sure we're organized. We want Thursday night to be as smooth and calm as it can be. When calls come in for Kevin, we want to be organized, have the answers for him. We want it, to be at our fingertips, and we don't want to be, disorganized with anything. So really, that's my job to make sure all of that is ready to go for Thursday night.
When will you make that decision? This is my guy, or will it? Or
I think when you know who's really there. I think we'll have a small group of guys. I think we have a small group of guys that we're there on. But an important line also that we come up with every year is if none of these guys are gone, then maybe it's best for the franchise to trade for a player that maybe a trade that's on the board or something like that to the future. There's so many different scenarios that we have to run through and make sure we're clear on.
Is there any chance to move up?
I know we're investigating it. We investigate moving up, down, all over the place. So there's all those calls have been going on for quite a while.
How is Kevin's war room different than Larry's?
Very similar. They operate the same. From a preparation standpoint, from a function standpoint, not really any.
Are they sitting back and waiting to hear everyone's opinion before sharing?
That
yours?
stuff's all done. The war room meeting draft night. That stuff's all done by then. There's no arguments going on during the draft. That would be. That would not be good. You want you don't want confusion. You want clarity when you have to make decisions. So those things have for the most part been ironed out, and I'd say most of the major arguments have been hashed out by now.
Have you seen the pictures of Miles Turner?
I did. I saw those. It looks great. That was pretty awesome. He looks like he was on whatever Vic was doing last summer. So we're only 5-6 weeks into the off season, whatever we are, and that's pretty awesome to see that. Or he's 5 weeks into his training, I should say, and to see that's pretty awesome.
How much do analytics come into play during your draft process?
Yeah, another piece of the puzzle for sure, and we look at them. We have two different guys that have their own models of analytics that we use, and we trust them. And it's definitely something that gets talked about and is part of the decision.
Is drafting and stashing an option for you guys?
Second round, it could be. I don't know that there's a player on the board in the first round that would fall into that category.
Ryan, how's evaluating and gathering intel overseas? How much of an obstacle is that versus here?
Well, we have two great overseas scouts that work really hard. One lives in Barcelona, one in Belgrade. They do a great job. They grew up in that world. One was a GM for a team in Spain and played at Barcelona. They have great contacts that make it easy for us to go over and meet people and get to know people and build those relationships ourselves. So, when I first took this director job 8-9 years ago or whatever it was, that was a big point of emphasis for me. Was I hadn't been over there a whole lot, so meeting as many of those people and getting kind of as acclimated over there as I feel like I am here, and it's fun. It's fun to go meet people. They all love basketball. They're all trying to be good coaches and and stuff. So it's been fun. We've had some foreign coaches come help us in summer league. We try to build relationships with different people, and it's a little bit different, but all good. Basketball is a great language.